my name is Aaron, and I'm excited to share this with you. What we're going to do is we're going to build a Tweezer jam inspired backing track, just basically what you hear right now. Yeah, the point of this is it's for complete newbies, to people who are new to audio interface, amp simulation, GarageBand, or any digital audio workstation. And the point here is, one, I want to just give back to the PGH community. It's been really awesome. And two, I've just gotten really into recording with jam tracks and other stuff using GarageBand. It's just much more fun than a looper pedal. It's much more fun than, for me, than a metronome or a looper pedal. And so, but as of a few months ago, I was like super confused about how all this stuff worked. So I want to just take you through it, and hopefully it's helpful to you and friends of mine and all that. So we're gonna make this track. Now the first thing we gotta look at, I'm gonna just turn down this music a little bit. The first thing we gotta look at is this, and this is my pedal board. And the key to this whole thing is this HX Stomp XL. There's a lot of ways to do this. This is the way I'm doing it. And you can see out of here is the USB. This goes right into my computer, and it basically takes over the audio of the computer. So guitar comes in, goes through all this stuff, through here, out into the computer, and then it all comes back. And then my headphones are plugged into here. So everything I'm listening to in GarageBand is actually coming back through these headphones wired right here. That's the key to this whole thing. That's an audio interface. There's a bunch of ways to do this. That's the way it works for me. So that's kind of the hardware setup. Now, to get going with GarageBand, I'm gonna stop this and we're gonna create a new track. I'm not gonna save that. And the key setting here is input device is HX Stomp XL. So you're taking the input in from the pedal board. And then if this were a normal situation, it would go back out through the HX Stomp XL. In this case, I have this kind of funky thing set up so that I can record a screen video of this and talk through this microphone and all that. So, but in a normal situation, you'd just be in and out of your audio interface. So I'm gonna start with the drum track. And let me resize this to fit into my recording window. And the first thing we've got here is we've got this slow jam rows. You can choose from a bunch of different drummers, and we can give this a listen. Not exactly John Fishman, but we can do a few things to make this better. Let's crank it to the mid-90s for Tweezer kind of tempo. If you right click the end, you can hit loop, and now it's looping, and some amount of improvement there. I like to go down here and put the hi-hat all the way over here, maybe give it some fills. And the first thing I'm gonna do in terms of tracks is I'm gonna create a track, and I'm gonna create what I would call like a framing track. Now, we wanna get to a bass line, but Mike doesn't play like a straight bass, right? He's not just gonna play the rhythm. So I need something that kind of like lets me hear the song. So now this software, this is HX Edit. This is what's editing my amp simulators. And just the quick orientation here is my guitar pedals that you saw earlier are coming in through here. This is like an extended guitar pedal chain, and it ends with this amp cab simulator and some reverb. So I'm gonna pick this clean one that I've set up. Not much to it, let's just hear it. And you need something like this, otherwise it's gonna sound basically terrible. Now, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a really basic rhythm just to frame out the track. So let's record. So 4 bars is plenty there. I'm gonna select after the 4th bar, and I'm gonna go in here and right click it and then split it playhead right after the 4th bar, delete that rest, and then I'm gonna loop that. I'm gonna go back to this, and if I go to the View and show editor. I'm going to actually jazz these drums up a little bit more because you hear it was just kind of not very exciting. So I'm just going to make it loud and more complex. And I think we'll start to bring in the snare drum. Yeah. And you can see, the beginnings of what we're shooting for. But now I'm going to go in here and do my bass. And so again, another input one or another input. Rename this to bass. And I'm going back to HX edit, which is controlling, again, the HX stomp. And you can pick from all kinds of amp cab simulators, but this one's great because it has all the stuff built in. Here I've got a pitch for the bass. I've got a filter for a little bit of wetness, a compressor after that, and then a bass amp cab as reverb, so we can hear that. Pretty convincing, I think. And so let's go jam that out. There's 24 bars. I like to give, for a jam track, 24 bars or so of the stuff I want to keep, because that's going to make it feel alive and fresh and kind of interesting. And I'm going to loop that. Now, I no longer need this guitar track. That was just to kind of set things up. Let's hear how this sounds. So this part is magical. Now I went in here, I went back to the editor, and I take the drum track, and I click this follow button, and I'm going to follow the bass. Now that's going to do some cool programmer stuff, and it's going to follow. It's going to do what you think. Let's just give it a listen. Totally different, right? So that is totally sweet. And now I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to give everything some EQ. I'm going to pump up the snare, pump up the kick drum. I'm going to give some compression. I'm going to give some ambience to this thing. I'm going to go to the bass, turn on the compressor, pump up the bass, pump up the highs, give it some ambience. I don't really know what that does, but it sounds cool. So let's go with it. So pretty cool. So now we're gonna go in here, and I'm gonna lay down some guitar. So I want a nice clean sound. This setup, this tone just has a clean amp and some reverb and all that stuff, and pretty basic sound. Not tray, but whatever. It'll work for what we're trying to do. And let's jam out on that. So we hit 24 bars there. Let's break that up, split that, trim off that bit, loop that, give this guy some ambiance, some reverb as well, toggle some knobs. I don't know. You can just tweak till it sounds good. Let's hear this. Final thing we can do here is add some synthy stuff, and I've got this mods, and this line is just gonna have this growler sound. Pretty cool. So let's just build that in there and just see if we can do like a little pagey stuff. I can get really carried away with this, but I don't want to go too crazy because I want to leave some space for the jamming. Is 24 bars of that. You know the pattern here. Delete that, loop this, and now we've got our full-on track. And let's just play that. Pretty good. So now, the really cool thing is we can hit share, and there's a built-in integration with SoundCloud, and I had to do 2 tracks here, so I'll just add 2 here, and I'm gonna go ahead and share it. And this is really cool. I really like this because SoundCloud hooks up with Sonos, so I can listen to it at home and kind of learn from what I did. Share it with friends, share it with you guys if you want it. And that's the final track. Now, want to jam over this thing, we can just do that. And we can go over here and grab this Trainwreck modeler if we want to go full Train Wannabe here. A little stratty for a Trey thing, but whatever. And let's just go for it. You might be saying, if you're jamming a phish, you wouldn't actually have a guitar as rhythm, right? So it's cool if you want to just pull that out. This road if you want,